What are you talking about?
You're such a stand for Nate Diaz, man.
Stand, bro.
Oh, I thought you meant like standing up.
No. Like I said before, I am just a loyal fan, motherfucker. Shit. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. we have the keyboard words with everybody@thewords.com. My name is Eddie Law. That's Fred Kirby. That's Jason Rubalcaba. Weird little new system we're using. We're hoping that this is working. I'm not going to bother checking it right now. As far as I think Jesse keeps an eye on it, but regardless, this is us now. Hopefully, this is going to be the way we do things, and it works nice and clear and everything. So, all right, UFC 241, ladies and gentlemen, was on Saturday. I was fucking there. It was amazing. The environment was crazy, dude. Like anytime they showed Nate on the jumbotron, they did it plenty. The crowd exploded. The fights were, I mean, the prelims were. It's weird, right? Sometimes like the main card's really good and the prelims are kind of crappy, and then other times it's flipped. The prelims were like okay at best, but once you hit that main card, man, fucking shit was fire. So let's talk about Costa versus what's up?
Real quick, I have a question.
What up?
Did you participate in the ceremonious lighting of the joint as soon as Nate Diaz walked out, or were you just?
I was not able to sneak alleged contraband into the building because you're not allowed to take it in there.
How were you not able to sneak anything in? I mean, I've been there so many times, and literally there's like a gif of like a guy like barely touching people to pat him down, not even like touching them, just kind of like air.
Well, I didn't know if it could pat down or not. I didn't even know it could pat me down or not, so I didn't bother. All right, but there was plenty secondhand. All right, believe me, it was like. That dude started walking now, and it was like Snoop Dogg decided to walk through the fucking arena. It was just whoosh. All right, I'm surprised you couldn't see it through the fucking cameras. For real, there was that much. It was hazy for a minute.
I think John Anik said that he got a secondhand high from everybody smoking up.
Oh, for sure. And then once you got outside, it hit you like a wall. Like, you got all the shit. So, anyway, all right. Let's talk about Romero versus Costa. That fight was fucking insane. But did it bother anybody else that Romero would, when he dropped, when he had Costas on the ground, that he didn't jump on his ass? He just kept saying, "All right, come back up." Like it was cool to watch, but I was just like, "Come on, dude, try and finish him or something."
Yeah, I mean, it's touchy though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You gotta be careful. He probably didn't want to dive in and no crazy shit happened. Plus, he was fucking low key. All right, hold on. Let's start here. God damn it. Let's enough with the bullshit. Who'd you guys think won that fight?
Oh, I have live there, Romero. I have Romero. Barely, but I had him.
I'm gonna tell you how I scored it. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I'm gonna tell you the right way to score it. The right way to score it is how I scored it. That goddamn fight was a draw.
I'd have been okay with that.
If that fucking fight wasn't a draw, then what the fuck is? That's immediately what I thought after that fight. I'm like, it's a fucking draw. Like. That's as close as you're going to get to a fucking draw. If you do the 10-point must system, I'm sure you can find a way. That's why I hate that scoring system because it's fucking trash. Like this was a fight that afterwards, I feel like after a fight, if you can make a legit point for either man or woman to be the winner, it's a draw.
How did you actually score it? Like, did you give a 10-10 round in there, or how did you come up to the draw?
I'm glad you asked me that, Jesus. I fucking don't. I don't fucking. Everybody, how'd you score it? How'd you score it? I fucking didn't. I ain't getting paid to fucking score that car. I never judge them 10-9. Fucking, do people do that? Do they sit at their house with their fucking paper and go, I gave Romero? Nobody gives a fuck what you gave Romero, little shitbird on Twitter. Your fucking scorecards mean fuck all. But that being said, I like to judge the fight old pride school, old pride rules. Like after the fight's done, I think, all right, who do I think? You know what I mean? I judge that. Right. I'm watching you motherfuckers fight in the desert or in a parking lot. After it's all said and done, who do I think won that fight overall? And that particular fight, fuck both y'all win. It's a fucking draw. You're beating the snot out of each other for 3 fucking rounds. What do you like? You know what I mean? Like at that point, you're fucking splitting hairs. It was a draw.
I like that. I kind of agree with you, Fred, but I also think that in all honesty, I would say that Romero winning would have kind of been like kind of like that old scoring system, right? Because he had those takedowns at the end of the second round, at the end of the third round. Obviously, I think we all agree the third round he won. The second round is like where everybody kind of gets a little weird, right? Because Costas was dominating the first basically like 2.5 minutes of that fight, of that round, and then like at 2.5 minutes, almost literally, Romero took over and ended the round on top. So I could see how you could come up with that. I think the problem is that if you go by like the stats and everything Romero did, you could definitely make a case for him winning that fight because he outstruck his opponent. He also landed the 2 takedowns, all that other things. But you know what? I'm not mad that Romero lost. I think, like you guys are saying, it was a close fight. It was close enough that, like you said, Fred, you can make an argument either way. Whatever scoring system you want to come up with, you can make an argument.
That's the funny thing about this, right? Does anybody really feel like Romero lost?
No.
We, the public, ultimately do decide these things. I don't feel like Romero needs a step down in competition. Now, he might not get that title shot next or whatever, but like at the end of the day, I don't think most of us are going to treat this like a loss. Like we're all probably going to leave that fight like, yeah, it's a fucking really close fight.
I mean, in all honesty, we have to eventually figure out how to fix this scoring system, right? Because if you go on, what is it, one of this website where they get all the, what is it, the whatchamacallit, the journalists, quote unquote, to turn in a scorecard. It was literally down the middle. I think it was 11 people that turned in a scorecard and 11 people, one for Romero, one for Costa. So it's like split. So even the pundits, the journalists out there couldn't decide who actually won that fight. They both were on each side. So I think Fred's right. I think the best thing that could have happened here is just make it a draw. And let's move on or rematch, whatever is best for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like Romero didn't really lose very much, right? And Costa got in there. He wants to fucking fight, he wants to get the winner of Whitaker at Adesanya.
Yep.
I think it'd be a great fight. I just don't know if I don't know who would you. Okay, let's say it's Whitaker, right? Whitaker beats Israel. I think it's a harder fight than Adesanya for Paulo Costa. But that dude, like, there was people talking, like, people in my section, we were like doing like Roy chants and shit.
Yeah, that's interesting. I could maybe see that Robert Whitaker being a harder fight for Costa than Israel Adesanya, but that's ironic because I feel like Israel's going to smash Robert Whitaker.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking about this, and I know MMA math is fucking stupid, but I was thinking, didn't Wonder Boy stop Whitaker at 70?
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't you kind of compare Wonder Boy's style to Israel's somewhat? But Israel's just probably bigger and better and hits a little harder. Yeah. One could assume that like Israel is going to light Robert Whitaker on fire. And like, I know he's a tough guy, but like when that's like your number one attribute, is just the fact that you can take a beating. I don't know, man. I suck at fucking picking fights, which probably means Bobby Knuckles will come out and thunderstrike him. But my first initial opinion on that fight, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see Israel kind of steam coasting, dude. If fucking Wonder Boy got the job done, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
Plus, and on top of that, Whitaker win. I mean, Whitaker's got such an injury-prone fucking history. Who knows if we'll even get that fight?
Yeah, but I tell you what, neither here nor there. Either way, fucking middleweight's looking up. No matter how you cut the cake, we got a couple great fucking title fights coming up, no matter what. So that's fucking dope. And you got Romero fucking waiting in the wings for whatever. If somebody does get hurt or whatever, and ain't nobody gonna be mad at that, except for fucking Whitaker Romero. That would be kind of lame. But
so we're doing this again. All right, I guess we're doing this again. Yeah.
Do you think though that what could happen here is that Paulo Costa could lose that title shot opportunity by what he said in the back? In the back, he said that he wasn't going to be a stand-in for that title fight, that he wasn't going to put in a training camp and do what, who was it? What's the little Russian dude that
right, to be a backer.
Right.
Right. What he did, where he did a full camp, weighed in and everything. I think he still got paid, right? But he didn't get paid his full purse. He got like something. but Paul Costa said he wasn't going to do that. So do you think this is the opportunity that maybe a Romero or even somebody else that's kind of like in that area to be like, oh, well, UFC, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll put in a training camp. I'll be ready. And if it happens, I'll jump in.
Especially if you get a check for doing training camp. Like, fuck, all right.
Right.
Hell yeah. If old Paulo said no, hell yeah. If I was Yoel, I would be fucking front and center like shit. If he won't do it, put me in, coach. Like you said, worst come to worst, you make a weight cut and make like, I mean, what's half these cats' paycheck? Fucking 20 grand, 50 grand?
Yeah, just pay for me. It's like pay for my training camp. Yeah. Just pay for my training camp and give me a little on the top. I'll be good.
Fuck, if I'm Yoel, I fucking cut the weight. I fly out to Australia. I fucking nail a bunch of white Australian broads. I get like fucking 40 bands. I'm happy as a lark. Worst case scenario, I get to actually fight. Like, what the fuck? Great.
Yeah. All right. End of the day, you know, podcast is looking really good as far as the title shot goes. And Romero didn't really lose much stock. It was a sick fucking fight to watch live.
Yeah.
What I heard, it was really, really, you know, like watching on TV is probably even better. But I didn't listen to any of the commentary, so I haven't heard any complaints about that.
They probably both got their pros and cons. Watching it live was probably a fucking a high and an experience. But watching it on TV is always better. We get all the greatest shots, the slow-mos, the fucking whole nine. So.
Eddie, did you go back and watch it, the event?
The whole event? No, I didn't. I haven't had time to. I got back and had to get right to work.
Because it's always interesting when you watch something live and then you watch it on television and you get all the different angles. Then you kind of see like, oh wait, I thought that landed, or you know, oh like that landed a lot harder than I thought it did when I was there, you know, watching it. So I'm kind of curious to see like if maybe your opinion will change of the fight.
So when I watch fights live, you know how they have the jumbotron there, they have the cage. You watch the fight live, and then right above is the jumbotron. I rarely watch the jumbotron until it gets to the ground. Right when it gets to the ground, I love those angles. To see what the arm is. Does he have overhook, underhook? Does he have butterfly hooks? Whatever he's got going on. Then I watch the jumbotron. But even live, like even watching those two guys go, you could tell those shots were landing hard and heavy. The only difference was you didn't get the commentary of Joe going freaking the fuck out and shit. Every time someone gets hit, so
then that means that you were looking at the next fight through the screen a lot more than you were actually looking at it into the cage.
Right. So let's talk about it now. Nate Diaz gets a big win over Anthony Pettis. 3 years away, and he comes back and wins. First of all, like I always talk about, don't get emotionally like attached to fighters because it'll fuck you up. Kane getting knocked out by JDS fucked me up. Kane getting knocked out by Francis Ngannou fucked me up a little bit. You know, shit like that, right? So unfortunately, there's only 3 fighters on that list. It's Kane, Nick, and Nate. Nick can't fight no more. Kane's basically done, and all we got is Nate, right? So I was super like focused during this fight. The other fights I was like sit back with a drink and shit, shooting the shit. That fight came up. That's like I scooted in front of my seat like fuck. Like almost like I was like, what's gonna do? Yell corner advice and fucking where it was at? It's stupid, right? So
why not?
It didn't matter. Anyway, yeah, Chrome Gracie ain't cutting it out. Put me in, dude. No, but that fight from the pop off was crazy.
Yeah. Like your overall view of that whole fight, like were you happy with the performance, or were you like
for 3 years away? For 3 years away. That was pretty fucking good. I mean, who else comes back and looks pretty, that solid after being gone for 3 years? Dominic Cruz, and that one guy doesn't believe in fucking ring rest, right? But I mean, he took it to Pettis, he pressured him. It was like, oh, well, Pettis broke his foot. He got a check kick. You guys saw that part, right? Where he checked the kick and it broke his foot right then and there. Yeah, that's what happens when you check a fucking kick and you land it with the top of your foot. That happens. But overall, man, I thought it was a great performance from Nate. What's up, Fred?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you try to make excuses for the way this fight went, you probably just haven't been following either one of these fighters.
Right.
What's funny about this fight is the fact that Nate has been out for 3 years, but it looks like he hadn't missed a beat.
Right.
If this fight had happened 3 years ago, I would have predicted that this is pretty much what it would have looked like. Like Anthony would have got his licks in, but he would have wilted towards the end, and Nate would win a pretty dominant decision, or maybe finishing towards the end of the fight. Looked like he almost got that finish with the knee. Like, this fight went exactly how one would assume it would go. Like, except Anthony didn't land a kill shot and Nate didn't get a late submission. But, Anthony kind of did his thing a little bit. Actually, to be fair, Nate really did a little better all around. Like, I kind of thought that Anthony would kind of light him on fire a little bit that first round. He got his licks in, but he never really hurt Nate at all, to be fair. So, yeah, fuck. This fight looked pretty much about like what I guess most, you can sit around. That's what makes those fucking like, countdown shows funny or whatever. All these little pricks got their shows about predicting the fights. You can fucking break down the X's and O's all you want. There's no way to really predict this shit. But this is the way that pundits would have broke this fight down. You know what I mean? Like most fights going into it, it's real simple to fucking figure out what, most people are going to say. Like obviously Nate's going to come on strong. Anthony Pettis is known to be a bit of a front runner. Obviously, we all see, but like a lot of times the fight don't actually go like that. This one actually went exactly according to plan, I think, as most people would have seen it.
Right.
Think, I'm curious on your opinion on this, but to me, I was actually more impressed in the fact that Nate Diaz looked like he actually improved a lot of his game, right? Like he was actually implementing, like, checking the kicks. He was actually throwing kicks. His clinch work looked a lot better. His ground game, always on point, and it just looked almost like he was toying with Pettis, right? Like it just didn't seem like Pettis was in any aspect of that fight where he was better than Nate. The only thing I did see is that maybe he wasn't in the best like conditioning, like where he kind of slowed
Nate?
down a little bit. Yeah, Nate.
Oh yeah, so he explained that. Yeah,
to me, it just seems like 3 years of not being in fights, your condition, you could have like the best conditioning in the world, but once you get to game day, I mean, it's a different thing, right? Like there's so many factors that take away your gas tank and all that. I mean, that's really the only thing. But to me, it was surprising to see that Nate Diaz actually improved his game even better than what he was when the last time we saw him.
Yeah, like if you ever watch a marathon runner, they set a pace and they keep it for 27 amount of miles. The same thing goes with Nate, right? He puts on the same pace, but keeps it, and then by the time he gets to fourth, fifth round of a main event, for example, the other guy's already wilting because that guy, went at it, and Nate will just pace. So by fourth, fifth rounds, his pace is still really high and the same. The other guy's wilting, so that's what he was explaining, right? That that he had to go a little harder, so he got a little tired. So that makes sense.
What's funny about that? I was thinking about that when I was watching the fights. So you watch Romero and Costa's fight, and it's like these barbarians, and of course, like you're always kind of watching at the house, giving it that thought, like, what if I had to actually fight one of these animals? And you're watching that, and it's terrifying because you're like, God damn, boy, one punch from one of these dudes, and you are fucking asleep. And then you watch Nate Diaz come out and put that performance on, and on one hand, you would think like, okay, well, at least Nate's not, it doesn't seem that vicious, but honestly, I would much rather fight Romero or Costas, knowing there's probably only going to be one good one. One good shot, I wake up and the fight's over. Nate's like death of 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
He's not going to knock you out. He's just going to pump you again and again and give you shots in the belly and the liver and the knee and the nose, and just enough to fuck you up and batter you and bruise you. Like Nate kind of has that Tony Ferguson vibe. Like you don't really fight a Diaz brother and not get lumped up.
Right.
Like, period. You might win that fight, but those dudes are going to put some fucking hands on you at some point, period. That's what's great, not to skip around, but like great about this fucking, I got to say, man, you got to hand it to Nate Diaz. This very well could have been one of the greatest performances ever in the octagon for everything that happened with it, right? Massive star, gone for 3 years, comes back, gets a big win against a credible opponent, and then really gets cooking and calls out the other huge guy in the sport right now, Jorge Masvidal, sets up his next fight, which will be bigger than this one, and quite possibly as big as the Conor fight. Like, maybe not that big, but fucking Jorge Nate is going to be a monster. Like, that's going to be a big fucking fight for all the right reasons. I mean, Nate couldn't have played his cards any fucking better. He didn't waste no time on Conor. He got right to Jorge. And guess what's crazy about that? In a world which you think like nobody can do anything without Conor, he straight did.
Yeah.
He put on a great performance, called out Jorge. And even me being a massive Conor nut hugger, I'm like, bet. Fuck Connor. Like, what do we need? You know, all due respect to fucking C-Mac. Hey, we don't need you right now. Like, Nate and Jorge is going to be fire. We're already stuck with Kobe Usman anyways. You better get a fight, homeboy. We're going to fuck around, forget about you.
Right. Well, so,
how do you feel about what is it? Dana White finally eating some crow in the fact that now he has to walk back his comment.
That just pissed me the fuck off. All I did was piss me the fuck off. I was like, "Fuck you, Dana. You've known he's a needle mover. You've known."
Right. But like, isn't it crazy that basically Anaheim, you know, and a lot of people have kind of pointed this out. Anaheim lit up because of Nate Diaz, not because of the heavyweight championship, not because of Paulo Costa and Romero, not because of anything else, but because Nate Diaz was going to be on that card. And so now you have a bona fide, you know, superstar that you can market, but you wanted to deny it initially. So now that we have this, you know, basically ahead of us, that we can have such a good fight between, you know, two gangsters, like what else can we do? You know, like, you know, Dana White just eating crow in the back and be like, well, yeah, I guess he is.
Hold on. I don't think that's true, though. First off, I don't think that anybody's been unaware that Nate's the needle mover that he is. I think that the UFC just don't know what to do with him. It might seem like a cunty thing to say, but Nate Diaz isn't like Connor. You know what I mean? Like, Connor was the perfect guy for them to mold. Fuck, he's white. He isn't. And to be fair, Connor has done a little bit of the shit that Nate's done. You've seen him like smoking joints. He's looked coked out in clubs here and there. But Nate just has this fucking fuck you vibe to him. You know what I mean? It's like what the Diaz. It's one of the things that makes us love the Diaz brothers, but they're just almost too real. Like, I think that's the struggle they've had with Nick and Nate, is that like Nick and Nate don't play around. Nate might be like, I ain't coming to do that, and he fucking won't come. Like, Nate will get a hair up his ass and just miss a meeting on you. Now, to be fair, I guess I'm speaking out of turn a little bit. I guess Nate has historically been a lot more of a ball player than Nick. But also, they're hard to market. You know what I mean? Like, they're fucking raw in the coolest sense of the word. Like, again, it's why we all love them. Like, Jorge Masvidal, for instance. You could mold to a star. He's a raw motherfucker, but he also kind of gets it. He'll chill. Like, Nate Diaz, for instance, Dana White was like, yo, we told him to go on ESPN, don't cuss. First thing he says is, fuck you. Motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? I think Jorge, if he gets that, Jorge's like, all right, bet. I cannot say fuck. The first thing Nate says is motherfucker. Like, and again, it's why we love him. But I think in the UFC offices, they're like, okay, what in the fuck do we do with this kid? He is clearly a needle mover. We're not dummies. But the motherfucker's a wild man. Right? You know what I mean? He might just show up to the fucking the arena with a fucking gang of Crips. West Side Pot. I mean, the Diaz brothers are real. I don't know. I won't go as far as gangster, but like they're real ass motherfuckers. So it's like, I think the UFC is like, okay, we want to market y'all, but we need y'all to soften the edges. But then again, I said it's a conundrum, because the reason they're so big is because there's no fucking soft edges with them. So,
but I think you got it. You hit it right on the nose, Fred. I think they may not know exactly what to do with them, but I think what they do with them right now is pretty fair. You know, like, kind of give them like a parameter where they can play in, and kind of give them a little bit of leeway to break those rules, you know, and just kind of do their thing. Because if you try to corral them too much, that's when you start getting like, you know, the Nick Diaz of, I'm not showing up, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing anything that you want me to do, because now you're telling me what to do, you know, like, so I think it is a possibility for them to do a little bit better of marketing for them, but I think you don't need to do too much. I mean, everybody's enamored with them already. You know, they're like fan favorites, especially like I said, like a lot of the people that were there, and Eddie, you can attest to this. A lot of people were wearing, you know, the 205, you know, the Nate Diaz stuff, like represent all that stuff. Like, the crowd is littered with fans of Nate Diaz, the Diaz brothers. And it's not hard to see that that's why people are coming to see them.
But hold on, though. Here's the thing, right? Like, exactly. But my thing is, I feel like that's been like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're at this point where the UFC is probably like, all right, Nate, we're ready to make you a household name and take you to this next level. But in order to do that, you got to let us put you on, you know, whatever the fuck morning show that Michael Strahan hosts. And no, you can't start the interview off by calling them motherfuckers. Like, again, we love that, but like, there's a certain game you have to play to get to that next level. Now, listen, you ain't got to do shit. I can't stand ICP, but they're huge, and they made a legend of themselves by, you know, not having no fucking hits on the radio. Nate Diaz is a legend right now, and he can potentially go on to be a champion and so on and so forth. But if he ever wants to like kind of break through and become, you know, people are like, is he the next Conor? Is he the next Ronda? Nah, he ain't. He could be, but he has to appeal to a different crowd a little bit. They have to be able to put him in some different places. Like, moving the way he does now, he'll never. There's a reason why Ronda and Conor were Ronda and fucking Conor. You know what I mean? They were packaged and sold to everybody. I don't know if you can do that with Nate, really.
I think you can, and I think you just have to pick the right spots. I mean, it's not like you're gonna put, you know, Conor on, you know, like some Christian talk show, some, you know, AM like sports radio, because you already know that that's not what that's not gonna fly. You know, you have to know where to put them. And you know, I think you're right, Fred. I think they've got some pretty smart people out there that can be like, look, we can't put Nate here, but we can put Nate here where he can work within the parameters of the show, promote whatever he needs to promote, even do like the what is it, the podcast stuff, you know, put him on Joe Rogan, put him on, you know, Mike Tyson's podcast where he gets to smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's places where you can put him and market him pretty well.
You know what's interesting? That's a good point you bring that up, man. You know, I don't think it's no secret that the UFC has been trying to get, quote unquote, the black vote for a long time. And I think you're always kind of looking for like that black guy that's going to, the Kimbo Slice type character, God rest his soul, that's going to bring the black vote in. Maybe in some weird way, Nate Diaz might kind of be that character. I know he's Mexican, but he definitely holds that culture. You could tell he's a fucking rap fan, fucking smokes weed, West Coast hip hop. Like, if you had Nate Diaz go on the Joe Budden podcast or go on the Breakfast Club in the morning, he's a fucking gangster from the West Coast. You think he didn't grow up with a bunch of black kids? He's from fucking where the fuck's he from? Stockton. Yeah. I imagine it's a bunch of clearly it's a bunch of Mexicans, but surely it's a bunch of black folks out there too. You know, I doubt it's a bunch of fucking gringos running around one way or the other. So I mean, that might be an idea. I mean, maybe you're right. They just got to market him to the right crowd and sell him the right way. He's a fucking star, though. Make no mistake about it. No matter how you cut the fucking cake.
100%. No, so as far as as far as the crowd goes, man, I got there the Friday night before the fight, and right away we stay home. Me and my girl stayed. We got to the hotel, and then we went out to get some food. We ended up at a fucking Mexican food spot, right? We go in there, and there's literally only about it's late, so there's only about 10 people in the whole spot. Okay, shit you not. I counted. 8 of us had Nate Diaz shirts on.
Of course.
8 of us. And we're 15 minutes away from the Honda Center. We're 15 minutes from Anaheim, and everyone usually gets their hotels around there. I usually go a little further out so I can, pay less. But walking the morning of when I got breakfast, I went over to Seal Beach. Seal Beach is a nice little beach. It's mostly white people. 3 Nate Diaz shirts on there. Okay, besides me. Get to the arena, nobody's wearing anything but Nate Diaz gear. Represent the Nate Diaz Academy shirt with the Nate Diaz in front, which is what I was wearing. The dude is a superstar, especially in California, right? But yeah, no. As far as Dana saying, "Oh, now he's a needle mover," like fuck off, dude. He's been in a needle mover, you know it. All right, so I'm gonna try this thing out. So apparently, I can show comments. Let's see how this works. Can you see that?
Oh, bet that is fucking cool.
I gotta say, this thing works, and I don't want to jinx it. This thing's works so smooth. I'm gonna knock on wood real quick. This thing's working. This thing works so smooth so far, and it actually looks really nice. What's up?
That's dope.
I was gonna say you better be careful, be all happy, and then it explodes in the next second or two.
It might. Anyway, the homie Amusement says the Diaz brothers are the T1000 running at you in a fight. Super scary, and they don't stop. It's 100% true.
You ain't lying.
You guys think they'll have him and Masvidal in December or March? Did they say December?
I hope December. That seems like enough time. What the fuck? Neither one of them are hurt. Come on now. Let's go. Fucking December, the end of the year always needs a big fight. December seems like it would be perfect for that. Fuck that March shit.
Hoping March I can actually go because December is a little tight for me. What'd you say?
No, but December would be good because then you can have them right on track to fight for that title right after. You know,
well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't want to get too ahead of it, but hypothetically, if Nate beats Jorge, do we see him fighting for the welterweight belt? Is that where we're going from there? I mean,
I think he has a good shot at it, but it just the matchup is kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
If it's Colby, it's a fun matchup. If it's Kamaru Usman, it's like, God damn it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of true. That's kind of true.
But you've seen how much he's improved. His
100%.
So I think it would be a lot different of a fight than we think of before. Because tell me, how many of the analysts, the pundits out there, the smart people, you know, of the sport thought that Nate Diaz was going to check kicks, was going to throw kicks, was going to look as good as he did? Not a lot of them. They were all going based off what we saw 3 years ago. Different animal at this point now.
True. I mean, listen. One fucking analyst said that Michael Bisping was going to come in and knock out Luke Rockhold. You know, no fucking buddy knows a fucking thing. So you're right. And the idea of Nate getting a fucking belt gets my fucking snake hard. So
yeah. So the homie Jeremiah from the Hardcore MMA Show says Nate's entrance was fucking lit on Saturday night. That walkout had me fucking pumped. He didn't even need a fog machine. I lost my fucking shit. Okay, and he had a mix of 3 songs. It was like a Lil Wayne song, a Drake song was in there, something else. E40 was in there. I heard, right? So someone made a little mix for him and shit. It was legit. It was hitting hard. It was good. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's a pretty legit. Oh, here's a good one. Musician says, "Let Dave Chappelle have another race draft. The black delegation selects the Diaz brothers." Have you guys ever seen that? You guys seen that, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure.
That's the shit right there. That'd be fucking.
Would be the worst idea. Would be the worst idea to maybe put him on that tour circuit and see like, I mean, see how his story resonates with that audience.
Yeah. So
allegedly, that was the end of the pay-per-view, right? Like, we don't need to talk about the rest of the pay-per-view.
That basically was the main event. And I shit you not, because I was sitting there and I was so exhausted. Like, I shit you not, like, when I mark out, when one of those guys fights, one of my guys fights, right? Like, I mark out, down, fucking flipping birds everywhere, fucking yelling shit, like, you know what I mean, losing my fucking mind. But the only time that I was kind of like, oh fuck, was the Pettis went for that guillotine, and you can see it because obviously I started looking at the screen. You can see it wasn't super tight, but sometimes when you struggle on those, you make them tighter yourself, and it kind of fucks you, right? And Nate was smart as shit. He immediately gets his hand in there, just makes just enough room to survive, and pops his head out, and then Pettis was fucked. But yeah, dude, overall that shit was just I don't know, it was badass. I'm personally hoping for my Masvidal Diaz in March so I can actually go. But look, you gotta strike with irons hot. December's the way to go.
Yep, for sure.
Especially if it's California or Vegas, and it's probably gonna be Vegas to be real. So, all right, moving on to the main event. Might be the saddest moment in the whole night for me. All right, because I wanted DC to go out on top. I just felt like DC wins, defends his belt, takes the gloves off, puts them down. Like, see you guys, I'm out. Fuck you, John Jones. Just on the way out, right? And no, dude, he had that. He was winning that fight until Stipe decided to start beating up his body, cracked him a couple times, hit him with a right that he didn't see coming, and that was the end of the night. And you got to hand it to Stipe, man. That was a sick fucking way to get your belt back. I was hyped for Stipe, but I felt really sad for DC. But Ohio boy, I know you were happy as fuck.
I was actually rooting for DC, to be honest. Like, I mean, I just wanted to see DC keep the story going. I wanted to see him and John keep it going. I'm here for all that fucking shit. But you got to give credit where it's due, man. Stipe made one of the more impressive in-fight fight strategy changes I've ever fucking seen. Yeah. And it happened quick, man. And he also, I feel like for the first time, I guess like I think I seen Luke Thomas kind of pointing this out with something that happened in the Anderson Silva fight a long time ago, but now I think it's obvious that we've found DC's kryptonite, like body blows. Clearly, you can hit that man in the head as much as you want, unless you're fucking John Jones on steroids. But nobody else knocks DC out. And some guys are like that. Matt Brown's a bit like that, unless you're fucking, Donald Cerrone on Budweiser. He can take him in the face, but if you give him shots to the fucking liver or the belly, he folds.
Yeah.
I think DC is obviously susceptible to, is that word? Something like that.
Yeah, susceptible, yeah.
Yeah. Body shots. Clearly, listen. Soon as Stipe threw that fucking first left hook to the body, it was like, ooh, shit, that was a good shot. And then he went right back to the well. Boom, again. And then, within fucking 20 seconds, the fight was over pretty much. Like, extremely fucking impressive and extremely effective. Like I said, I think it, like, now, if DC does continue to fight, I think you got a real strategy going against him now. Try to keep him off of you and attack the fucking body. Obviously, you got to hit him in the head a little bit, but go hard to the body. And obviously, Stipe did finish him with punches in the face, but clearly those hooks to the body, those hard hooks to the body, opened that shit up in a major way.
A lot of what I was hearing after the fight was DC got arrogant. He was arrogant. Yeah. He didn't think we could hurt him. And then Stipe hurt him. And it was like DC had no answer for it. Is that what you were going to say, Fred? Or Jesse?
Yeah, kind of. I think the bigger problem is, I don't know if you could see it or hear it, Eddie, and maybe you can go back and see it, but his corner, they were pleading with him. Like literally pleading with him. Yeah, to keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Go back to wrestling. Wrestle. Like, I think the problem is that we are fans of DC. I think not a single person out there can really say that they weren't hoping to see DC win this fight, right? Like, even though you could be a Stipe fan, and I don't think there's many of them out there, but you could be a Stipe fan, but I think deep down you still wanted to see DC win that fight. And I think in the end, knowing that DC is a human being and he made a tactical mistake, right? His tactical mistake was he got too cocky and started boxing with a guy that's a really, really good boxer, probably one of the better boxers in the heavyweight division, right? And, what Fred said, he wasn't finding a lot of success, but he stayed in the fight, right? He stayed in the fight. And then eventually he was like, he remembered what Anderson Silva did to DC in their fight. Anderson Silva kicked him in the body once. And then DC was like, nope, takedown time, right? But instead of doing that same strategy, DC this time just got, like you said, he got arrogant and cocky and said, nah, like I knocked him out the last time. He's not going to hurt me. And he kept going to the boxing instead of going for a takedown and finishing the fight. What gives me like how DC earned my respect, though, even more so than he already has, is the fact that even though he took that loss and everything, and he said everything as a true man out there. I mean, the most touching thing he did was when he walked out. I don't know if you guys saw that, where his kid was crying, and he walked over to his kid, even though he had in that moment the ability to be like, tell his wife to take care of the kid, to like, he had the opportunity for him to be his moment, right, of pain and, loathing and whatever. He took the time to look over at his kid and go, don't cry, like it's all good. Like he put on a strong face for his kid and showed his kid, losing is okay. It's a part of life, whatever. And, that's the thing that I'm going to miss if this was DC's last fight, is just the way DC carries himself and how good of a representative he is for the sport, right? Like him being a fighter in the UFC is just the type of guy that we really are going to miss. Kind of like the GSP where, he's not really that type of guy. He has his respect. He gives his respect to everybody, but all in all, I think, just a tactical error by DC, just getting a little too caught up in his strategy of, outboxing the boxer, and it cost him. But I mean, big ups to Stipe.
Yeah, dude. The thing with DC, yeah, a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of like you could hear his corner screaming at him, like, you know what I mean? Like you could actually hear it in the arena. They weren't just yelling; they were screaming at him, and he was just hands down coming forward. And when you do that kind of shit, you play stupid.
Look. hindsight's 2020. To be fucking fair, he was being pretty effective until
Oh, no,
Stipe started throwing
100%.
those fucking hooks to the body. Like, let's keep it a bean here. DC was cruising to a pretty fucking clear decision had Stipe not start throwing those body shots. Like, literally, them shits changed the whole fucking fight. Stipe was doing fine, but like it seemed like DC was kind of walking him down and having his way with him.
Yeah. All right. So here's a good one. MMA guy says 30, 27, 29, 28 times 2 on the cards for DC. Is the trilogy fight like the way to go?
If DC wants it, how do you say no? I mean, if DC comes back and he's like, all right, boys, this is it. Fuck Johnny Jones. Clearly that shit's a wash. This is my heavyweight shit. Like last fight, I want my trilogy. Stipe owes me that. Like if DC wants it, then you got to go with that. Now, if DC doesn't want it, I almost feel like you got to do the Ngannou rematch, right? Like I feel like we got two pretty clear paths here. If DC wants it, it's his. If he decides to retire, you got to do the Ngannou rematch at this point.
Yeah, and it's crazy how this is one of the only times where the challenger really holds the cards for the champion, right? Because I don't think they're gonna book Stipe until DC comes back to them and tells them like, okay, I'm done, or I want a rematch, you know? So like Stipe's fate is kind of in DC's hands at this point.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I think Stipe would do the rematch. I think he would do it, especially if it's worth it to him. So, Raider says Stipe turned to Shevchenko after that fight. Yeah, because he was doing that weird ass like dance. And he was like,
oh yeah, the weird river dance.
He says no, Raider. Stipe started the crip walk until he realized he was wearing red and turned into a river dance. Yeah, it's literally how it goes.
Stipe don't need to fucking be dancing.
Apparently, white boys can't see walk. It's probably true. Anyway, yeah. So, new champ, heavyweight, playing. I agree with you, Fred. 2 ways to go: Ngannou or DC. And I'm hoping it's a DC trilogy, and we just end the career right there. Hopefully.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you guys off, but Eddie, did you feel kind of like the end was coming for DC in the octagon? Because he did take off his gloves and he kind of was standing there.
Right. So I was sitting there, and you know, I like DC. Like I like Stipe too, but I like DC's story, right? Like I like the whole story. A lot of people don't like him because he's arrogant. They're like, oh, he's fake. He's supposed to be a pro wrestler. He's supposed to be a nice guy. I'm like, okay, if you like DC or you like John Jones, but you don't like DC, you got problems. Go figure that out. But the thing with DC is that his story was so compelling. So when he lost, I literally sat back and I was like, oh fuck. Like I was almost a little bummed out for him. And then dude, immediately starts taking off his gloves. Like he cuts the tape off, takes off his gloves, and I was like, there's no way. Like there's no way. And I almost think that he was gonna do it. And then someone came up to him because I know his corners were coming to talk to him. And it's almost like someone got in his ear, like, hey man, just wait. Don't make any emotional decisions here. Like someone changed his mind. In his own mind. Because he had the gloves off. When you do that, he had them off and in hand. In hand when they announced the decision. I'm like, he's gonna retire. And he didn't.
I think it was a good decision by whoever got in his ear to tell him to not make an emotional decision. Even though I think I heard that Joe Rogan said that, you know, he had talked to him and he kind of did want to talk. So I think Joe gave him the opportunity to retire. And, I think you're right. I think there was a lot of things swirling in DC's head, you know, but I also think that, you know, for his next fight, he probably shouldn't fight in Anaheim or California because in Anaheim, he's lost twice by TKO, KO. So maybe a different state next time for his next fight if he comes back.
That'll be Vegas. Lance says, I think they'll fight again. I think so too, man. I think it'll happen, but I think it's going to be probably early next year. So we'll see. All right. Actually didn't check the headlines, but what do you guys make of all the Colby shit?
What Colby shit?
So Colby walks in the arena. Colby walks in the arena during the Brunson Heinzig fight, right? And immediately the boos start coming out, and Colby sucks. And then fuck you, Colby. Like like everyone forgot Brunson was in there winning a fight. Like they were all focused on their ire on Colby. And then during the Colby fight, during the basically the rest of the night, like between Max Holloway and Jorge Masvidal, they were switching seats with fighters that wanted to go fuck with Colby. Like they would go to for real. Like I was watching it from where I was at, and I was like Like guys would come up to Holloway, hey man, let me sit over there. And Holloway be like, yeah, come on, bud, let's go. And then sit next to Colby, start talking shit, trying to get into fights. And then you see Dana White had to get up off his seat, go over to Colby, to all of them. He had to talk to all down during the fight. And then I think before the main event, or during the main event, you see Colby jump the little barrier, and then he ran out with security. Like, he ran out of the arena with security. So, like, they were fucking with the guy. And you got to hand it to him. Like, he marketed himself in the way to do that. You know, fuck.
I think it's funny how Dana White described it, how he basically had to talk to them like children. Like, guys, be professional, you know, because it's a big event, you know, like, just handle it. Like, you don't have to fight here. You know, it's like, it's funny. And it's interesting because you got it right. I mean, you know, if you talk to our boys over at MMA Junkie, they've hung out with Kobe. They've taken him to to do like the military bases thing where they go and, you know, train with the military people and stuff, and they watch a pay-per-view with them. And they've done it with Kobe. And they say, like, behind the scenes, you know, not giving too much away from his kayfabe or whatever that he wants to put up,
Right.
but he's a genuine guy. He's a really, really good guy, and he really appreciates the fans that he has. But he knows that the stick that he has to do to get himself where he wants to be is what he's doing right now. And like you said, Eddie, it's working so well for him because
way too well. Too well. It's way too well.
To be able to create such a big drama in the middle of a fight, and, you know, a pretty decent fight. I mean, it takes someone that people really, really despise, you know, for everybody's attention to be off of what's happening and go right to one guy. So, I mean, I think he's doing a great job in that. And, you know, I can't wait to see like how this ends for him. If he becomes champion, can you imagine like the magnitude of douchiness that'll come out from him, and like just how much people will buy like pay-per-views to watch him get KO'd by somebody.
Yo, I'm stuck. I honestly think that we take Dana White for granted sometimes. Can you imagine? You're at a fucking event and somebody, I don't know who come and told you, but one of his cronies, somebody comes up and goes, yo, D, Max Holloway is trading seats with other fighters, and they're picking on Colby, and a fight's about to start. Can you, Daniel White, what the fuck? What? You know, he's got to go down there. What the fuck is going on? Max, first off, why are you switching? Why are you doing this? B, why are you pricks doing this? Colby, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what in the fuck is going on? Are you guys fucking kidding me? You're all millionaires. Yeah. Presumably, most of you, at least close to it. Like, you guys, you know, we're talking about people with some fucking money down there, champions and shit, like top-ranked fighters. Like, are you guys fucking kidding me right now? Y'all are playing fucking musical chairs and starting fights? Like, what the fuck?
Right. Dude, it was fucking great. You could see Masvidal had a big old grin on his face as he's switching seats with dudes too. Like, they were both fucking doing it. You know Masvidal's big ass grin? Like, he has this massive grin. He's like, yeah, okay, come on, dude. Let's go. Like, it was so fucking funny. Yeah. Dana White had to fucking make his way over there and talk to all those motherfuckers because they're actually gonna start some shit. So,
but I just think it's great because you can't tell me that they don't have some video of that, and they're not going to use some of that footage for his next fight.
100% going to use that shit. They should. Fuck.
Oh, of course. It just works for the benefit of everybody. You know, sell more stuff.
Yeah. Music says someone stuck boomerangs in the Honda Center, and my guy says, "No, he's just fucking around." Because I used to have a Nerf boomerang when I grew up in the 80s. That would have been perfect. And then he's going with Teofeo says, "Can you imagine what will happen if Colby really does beat Usman? MMA Twitter will implode." Oh, dude, I will be up till 3 a.m. just following MMA Twitter. How freaked out they get.
As much as I hate it, man, it's not that unlikely.
No,
I mean, I enjoy Usman and all, but like, Colby's fucking proved to be the little cocksucker that won't go away. I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised to see it. I don't think he'll win, but it wouldn't be a shocker. What the fuck?
No. All right.
And that's the thing. He does a lot of talking, but he backs it up. You know, in his last couple fights, people have just bet against him because they hate his shtick. But he shows up and he does what he needs to do to win those fights.
This weekend's card I mean,
We don't have a card this weekend.
No, it's next weekend. Yeah, that's
sorry, next weekend, August 31st. Right, this weekend we got nothing. Next weekend, out of China, we got the main event. Jessica Andrade against Weili Zhang.
Maybe
the prelims start at midnight Pacific time. That's 3 a.m. for you, Fred.
God damn.
And the main card is at 6 a.m. for you, 3 a.m. for us. Okay, that's the main card.
But Eddie, you should say maybe, because they still don't know if all that's going to be cleared up.
Right, a lot of shit going down in Hong Kong. Right, a lot of shit going down in Hong Kong right now. Shit's getting really fucking wild and really, really fucking crazy. So who knows? I think Dana White said it'll happen no matter what, but we'll see.
All right, look, we probably got to go in about 10 minutes.
Right.
No.
We kind of just wrapped up this event. We don't got another event for a while. There's one little piece of news that I want to get around to because I got an interesting take on it.
Right.
Now,
oh my God! I thought we'd go a whole show without it.
Look, we can't talk about, you know what I mean, like Conor and the old man. Now,
I died laughing when I heard it.
Let me provide my fucking perspective for this fucking story. All right. Now, I could very well be wrong. I probably am. But for me, I don't think he hit the old dude.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! His head snapped.
I don't think he hit him.
His head snapped.
His head did not snap. That's what everybody was saying. He no-sold it.
Okay, hold on.
What do you mean he sold it?
Wait. No-sold it. That's what everybody was saying. Okay, first off.
Wow.
Do we really think that Conor can't knock a fucking half-drunk 65-year-old Irishman off a bar stool? Has he not been working out that much?
Yeah, he's lost it.
Lose these nuts. I, in my prior fucking, goddamn it, present fucking state, rather, would sleep that old Irish cocksucker if I sucker punched him on that bar stool. I think he threw the shot of whiskey in his face. I don't think he punched. Also, look, this shit happened in April. If he punched him, real talk, ain't he fucking being sued or like going to jail? You can't fucking punch people in the face.
Wait. The story is that the old man no sold it, went home, and the next morning he felt some repercussions of said punch, and then went to the hospital next morning. So he did get hurt. That he no sold it and he was drunk, that's a different story. But you know what? Here's the thing, Fred. I don't think Conor was trying to knock him out. I think Conor was just trying to, like, you know, Stockton slap him to kind of be like, hey, like, I'm offering you a drink and you're saying no to me. Like, what's up with that? You know, and like getting a little mouthy with me. I'll just smack you a little bit, you know, kind of see the light of day maybe. But I don't think it was like he was throwing one of those Jose Aldo sleeping punches that he's known for.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly fucking not. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Unless we see some charges about that little Irish cocksucker getting charged with assault, I'm not going with the motherfucking implication that he hit him. Fuck that old grainy ass bar footage.
Fuck out of here. He hit him. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Where's the fucking charge? Where's the fucking assault and battery?
Yep. You know what, Fred? I hope you enjoy that check that just cleared.
All right.
Enjoy that money.
Listen, why ain't he being charged? Where's the assault charges at?
He's not in America. It was in Ireland.
Get the fuck out of here with the Ireland.
It's shit that works.
People to punch people in the face in Ireland too, especially old geezers. Look at him coming out the fucking. Yeah, that's right. Goddamn it! I said he threw a shot up here, hit that old geezer. Fucking dead.
You got one on your side. You got one on your side right here. Okay, Raiders on your side.
Christ. Listen, real talk. I don't think he fucking hit him. Okay, look, all bullshit aside, if he did hit him, there should be some legal charges, right? If he hit him for real, we'll find out, and there'll be an assault charge, right? Like one would. Yeah. Like Dana White. Oh yeah, it's just Ireland. They punch each other all the time, and they're like, "Fuck." I don't think so. Like that's a pretty racist thing to say. That just because they're in Ireland, they're drinking whiskey and punching each other in the face.
Right.
Like I don't think that's a thing.
Right. Now Jeremiah says, of course he didn't hit the man as hard as he could. He didn't even have a cup in his hand.
He had a shot glass in his hand.
It looked like he had a shotgun, but it also looked like he smacked the dude. So he had a glass in his hand. He punked. His head snapped back. I want to hear it.
What?
Oh my god, guys! What is this? A Zapruder film or something? What are you
Yeah,
analyzing?
it's Connor's Zapruder film.
Christ.
I'm fucking saying that grainy footage, and we're running with it like it's fucking gospel.
Yes, I agree with what you just posted. You know what? That's why you're not seeing anything. It happened back in April. You don't think Connor was like, after he heard the guy, went to the hospital, probably trying to set up a lawyer. He went over there, sent one of his guys over there. Hey, look, here's 50 G's or something. Here's 20, 30 G's. Let's make this go away. Don't worry about it.
So let me get this straight then. Y'all think O'Connor just put the 16%, just gave him a little 12.5%.
I think he's trying to knock him out. Let's be real. He could knock him
So
out.
what the fuck do you think he was trying to do?
He was not trying to knock him
out one of his teeth. He was 142 years old.
He's 50 years old. Jesus.
Get the fuck out of here.
I just read it. It's 50. Okay, fine. I'll read it out. There you go. All right. This is obviously footage released from TMZ Sports. This is from TMZ Sports. The man who has only been identified as a 50-year-old male from Dublin was left badly shaken by the encounter. That's just funny how that sounds. But it says, according to the source, McGregor came into the pub, offered everyone a drink of his whiskey, but the man refused because he doesn't drink shorts at all. Notorious was not taking no for an answer, though, and wasn't impressed when the man turned down his offer of a free drink a second time. Next thing he knew, McGregor punched him in the face. Here's what Jesse says happened. He didn't feel the pain of it at the time, but the next day he was in bits. It was a proper hard hit. His face was very sore, and he definitely knew he had been punched. He was very shook by the whole thing and didn't leave his house for days. I think he found out.
Out of here. He's a lying old cocksucker.
I think he Googled who Conor McGregor was. He's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
That did hurt.
I tell you something. I think you guys are all fucking cocksuckers. I think everybody. You don't think that sounds a little snaky? All of a sudden, the next day, his cheek hurts.
No. Tell me this, Fred.
You guys suck my dick. If that no, you suck it. That old man, if he got punched by Conor McGregor, everybody in that bar is saying, call the police right now. You know that little Irish prick's worth $1 billion, right? And he just punched you in your face in front of all of us. Call the police right. You think that you would really go home and then go to the hospital the next fucking day? Nobody fucking told him who just punched him in the face and what that would be worth to him financially. He went home and slept on it.
Fred, think about this. Like, let's say you go to the club, right? You run into somebody, you don't know the person, you get into an altercation with said person, they push you, right? All right. Next day, you Google the person and you're like, oh shoot, bet that's that football player. Guess what? Your story is gonna be, he pushed me, I fell down. Oh my God, I'm hurt. I'm going to the doctor. I need a couple million. Emotional damage.
This is real fucking funny and cute what you're saying. The difference is I'm a shitbird and we're not Stipe in Cleveland. If Stipe walked in and thunderstruck somebody in a goddamn bar in Cleveland, everybody in the bar would say, that's Stipe Miocic and he's worth $100 million. Don't go nowhere until you sue him. How in the fuck does everybody in the bar let that old bird get out of there with a broken face without calling the police right then?
He didn't have a broken face. Plus, according to what I read, he finished his stein or his beer that he was drinking and then went home peacefully. The old man. So here's the thing.
Did he? That's what he did. Right? Yeah? He didn't even call the police that night, huh?
No. And that's what I'm telling you. I think exactly what Eddie just said. Went home, slept off his alcoholic, his couple beers he drank, and then woke up and was like, I wonder who that guy was. Typed up, proper 12 and saw Conor McGregor's face, and he was like, hey, that's the guy that tried to take a swing at me. I feel like I'm in.
Are you trying to piss me off, Jesus? Because you're going to piss. You don't really think that, do you? You don't. Oh, yeah. You don't really think that the old bird didn't know who fucking C-Mac was until the next morning. Come on. Wait. We don't really believe that, do we, boys?
You really think that everybody in Ireland knows who Conor McGregor is?
Yes, I do. Jesus, I think everybody in Ohio knows who Conor McGregor is. Certainly, he came in the bar. Don't do that. Everybody in that bar knew exactly who that short little prick was. Like, let's not be fucking coy.
I think you're living in a MMA Twitter bubble there, Fred. That you think everybody in the world knows who the fighters are.
They knew who the fuck. If he didn't, everybody aware of him after he smacked the fuck out of him.
So MMA guy says Conor talked to him in the cab after the incident, allegedly.
See, this is what I think. I'm telling you, Fred. I think Conor knew exactly what he did afterwards and was like, "Oh man," probably went to talk to the old man. Probably offered him some money. The old man went home and was like thinking about it. And then he was like, you know what? Maybe I could get more money out of this guy if I say I'm in like horrible pain from getting punched by the great Conor McGregor.
So Jeremiah makes a good point. Yeah.
That's it. Just be fucking hyperbolic like fucking Conor couldn't snuff the old man if he wanted to. I'm telling you. I'll snuff that old man. Let me give him a good right hand while he holds his whiskey. Boom. Bet you that old fucker goes right down.
Yeah. Says apparently some clown on Twitter is normal. It's a moral sin to turn down a drink in Ireland. That old man said, "Fuck Conor's turpentine." I can say it as someone that's had that shit before. It's not good.
And to be fair, there's that to be said too. Maybe the old bastard deserved it. You're in fucking Ireland and C-Mac walks in, you take your shot. If not, you get a belt.
Wow. Just cash that second check there, Fred.
Listen, I'm for the kids, not the old people. Fuck the old people. The old fucking man should have watched this yet.
Eddie, bring that last one up. That was great.
I will. President look at himself in the mirror after this and be like, "We know the truth."
Just saying.
This one?
Yeah, that one. That one's good.
Conor is service and is bare knuckle wrestling.
Exactly. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I
understand what you guys are saying, but I think we live in a bubble where we think that some of our stars are bigger than we think, because there are places that they go and nobody knows who the hell they are. I'm telling you, that happens.
Yeah, Jesse, but a pub in Ireland is not that for Conor McGregor. Look, all bullshit aside, if anything, I think maybe that's what happened. If he did actually sucker punch that dude, whenever that little camera footage stops rolling, everybody probably gets excluded. He probably takes that old dude away. They probably go in a car somewhere, and that old dude probably gets a nice little sum of money to just fucking never, make sure this actually, like, because if charges go through, then we do. And look, man, Conor's fucking been in trouble. Like, fuck. Yeah. They put Pac and Mike Tyson in prison. Conor can go to prison. Like, you can't get too crazy. So, if anything, he must have nipped this in the butt right there. Like, all right, old man, name your price, and this shit doesn't go to like a court of law in any way. What the fuck?
Right, and I think you're right in that there's no charges. He wasn't arrested, anything. He fixed this already. Like there's nothing here except that now we get to see the footage of what happened back. What'd you say? April is when this happened,
right?
So I mean, it's like, yeah, it's already like old news to Conor. So I'm sure Conor looked at it and was like, "Oh man, well, I already solved that problem. I don't have to worry about that." You know what I'm saying? It's to our sensibility that we see him, throwing a smack to an old man that we're like, "Oh my God," holding our, clutching our pearls and such. But it's no big deal.
Real quick, so I just found so someone sent me a link on Twitter for the whole thing with Colby and the whatever where he was sitting. Here's Dana White's quote. It says, quote, "Everybody in that section kept fighting with Colby. So security kept coming over to me 50 times to get him out of there. And I said, no, everyone needs to start acting like fucking professionals because I don't have another seat in this entire building. That whole section needs to stop starting fights with Colby." Here's the good part. He goes, "Right when I got there too, Masvidal was working his way down the line. Holloway had moved out of his seat so that Masvidal could come into his seat. That fucking game you play in kindergarten was going on over there when I went over there. So I asked those guys to listen to me. We got a big night going on here. We have a big fight. I don't need a fight breaking out with you knuckleheads. Stop it." So, dude, between Masvidal and Holloway, they were just starting shit. And, like, I was there for it, man. I enjoyed the fuck out of that. Even watching it from where I was at, I had a fucking perfect, like, spot to see it. And it was fun as hell to watch. So, all right. Real quick, I'm going to go over the we got 2 minutes left. I'm going to go over very quickly the next couple cards. Nothing this weekend. August 31st, super early card out of China. If it goes down, like Jesse said, co-main event is Liu Jianliang. They believe it's a leech, right? Against Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos. And then, of course, the title fight, Jessica Andrade against Weili Zhang. And then I believe, September 7th. So that's the next weekend. The big UFC 242, another early card. That's an 11 a.m. Pacific time main card. So
that's right?
Pay-per-view, right. That's a 2 p.m. card for all you folks on the East Coast. And that's Khabib Nurmagomedov against Dustin Poirier main event with Edson Barbosa against Paul Felder in the co-main. So a lot of people actually kind of shitting on that card. And now that I look at it, it's
it's top heavy. It's
top heavy, very top heavy.
They know that Khabib's a big star now, so they got us by the fucking short curlies. Like we're Khabib versus Dustin's the whole card.
And then especially where they put it, in Abu Dhabi.
Right,
so I mean, it's
it's its own thing.
What I mean, fuck, they put Andy Ruiz Jr. Fucking Anthony Joshua 2 and fucking was in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia. I'm like,
let me tell you something, Jack. If I'm Andy Ruiz, nope.
Right.
Y'all can fucking sell that one, Jack. Sweden, London, y'all pick somewhere else. Daddy Anthony ain't going to fucking Saudi Arabia. Fuck that.
God, man, we should have made that in Vegas ago.
I mean, for what they're gonna pay him, I think I'd make that trip.
Yeah, and then the weekend after that is September 14th. Rogers Arena. I forget where that is. Rogers Arena. I'll figure it out. But I think so. But it's Donald Cerrone against Justin Gaethje, and in Vancouver. So that's gonna be. Nice. We got a few good fights coming up. No crazy card, no big stat cards like the one we just had, but still plenty to hang on to. So anything else you guys want to throw out here before we head out of here?
Yeah, 2 things. Number 1, if you guys can, go to Fred's YouTube channel again with his food diaries that he's doing. Just don't go to that channel while you're hungry because it'll piss you off. Yeah. And number 2, if you guys go to Patreon, our boys, our buddies, Gorgeous George and Goes, they have a show on there. It's the Gorgeous George and Goes show. It's a tongue twister, but anyway, they're kind of doing a history of MMA Junkie and everything, starting up right now. So if you guys check that out, it's an awesome show, and those guys are legit. So
yeah, if you guys missed it, MMA Junkie Radio no longer on Series XM, I think is where it was. So
right, and now they're down to 2 days a week at MMA Junkie on the site. So
right.
And fucking retweet this fucking video if you hear this shit because they're fucking clearly they need more MMA podcasts in the landscape now. Shit's going down. So
all of us out there. All right, gentlemen, let's get what up.
I was gonna say now that this is working pretty good.
This is solid. I can't be mad at it. Shout out to StreamYard and shout out to everyone that sent me the suggestion on fucking Twitter. Appreciate it. So far so good. So I'm thinking this might be the way to go the rest of the for as long as we're doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry to who was it? MMA Musement or whatever, who was high watching our previous tryouts of different streams.
Right. Sorry, so we're supposed to have guests on these last couple of weeks, and we had to basically move them around and cancel them because it's kind of hard to have a guest when we're train wrecking it over here.
Right. So, but now we're good.
Now we seem to be good, so we'll be back next week for sure. All right. Shout out to everybody that's watching the stream. We appreciate you guys. You can follow Jesse at SWAT1983. You can follow Kirby at Kirby_MMA. I'm at Eli31. The show is at Keyboard MMA. And of course, keyboardmma.com. Make sure you hit up RepTheWarriors.com. Represent big sponsor, SpicesPros.com as well. Right? This is fucking baller. I don't know why I didn't fucking find this earlier. Shit, we would have replaced the shit out of Hangouts sooner than later. Shout out to MMA guys. Shout out to Raider. Mark Oliver was here way earlier. Jeremiah from the Hardcore MMA show is going to start doing shows again, I'm assuming. I believe him and I have been talking about shit like that. But he's going to start doing shows again. And if you know Jeremiah, he gets fucking baller-ass guests. So make sure you hit that up. Amusement hanging out with us all night. Appreciate it. Tio Feo is here. Who else do we have? Lance. Lance is hanging out. Shout out. I know I talk to him on Twitter all the time. MEO is hanging out. Anyway, shout out to all you guys. You guys are the shit. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful night, depending on where you're on the planet. Good night, Wilshire.
How do we know? Okay.
Is it off? Maybe.
I don't know. I was gonna say, how do we know we're fucking live?
We're learning.